in my training, I would be covering data warehousing concepts, especially where we can talk about more OLTP and OLAP systems. At the same time, dimensional data model. I mean, especially data modeling concepts I'm going to cover. So various data models will be there in our data warehousing lifecycle. I can say that there are 6 types of data modelings are available in our data warehousing industry. Right? Mostly, clients will prefer to use multi-dimensional data model. It's a type of data model. It's a one type of data model. So why the clients or customers will prefer to use this multi-dimensional data model is it's a user-friendly. At the same time, navigation is very understandable for the customers, especially not only for the users, and even the customers also can be able to understand the navigation of all the dimensions, facts, how we are constructed, right? We are accommodating all the dimensions in a data model structured way, right? So the customers are able to understand. So defining the business is also very easy using this dimensional data. That's why. So in this our course content, mostly I'll prefer to recommend that I'll proceed with that dimensional data model exclusively. So there are other types of data models are there, like admin, entity relational data modeling, conceptual data model, right? So physical, logical, so enterprise data model. These are the types of data models we have in our industry, data warehousing lifecycle industry.
Okay.
In multi-dimensional data modeling, especially, I'll try to cover all the dimensions, various dimension types are available. At the same time, fact types, there are various fact types also available.
Okay.
Alright. Yeah. So once we're done with this data warehousing concepts, we can go with the tool, IBM DataStage tool, where we will be covering so basically architecture, especially our DataStage, how it's a basically it's a GUI based enterprise tool. DataStage is an IBM product. Basically, it's a GUI based enterprise tool, right? Whereas architectures we have available. So version to version. So starting currently we have a 9.1 version is the latest version in our industry. So where I'll train the people into the 8.5, 8.7 as well. So this is, I'm just going to cover the concepts of 9.1 version, what the extra features of the 9.1 version has. And at the same time, coming to the DataStage architecture. So the differences between the 7.5 means earlier versions, prior versions, before 8 versions, what the architecture behind to DataStage tool, and after 8 version, what the architecture has been implemented with IBM.
Okay.
I'll try to show in the graphical way what are the different components, like client components, because it's a GUI based client server technology tool. So definitely we need to talk about client components as well as server components. So that's where DataStage has built up with client server components.
Okay.
Yeah. So in our DataStage tool, we would be covering basically ETL. So it's an ETL tool. So where extraction and transformation as well as loading, right? ETL stands for extraction, transformation, and loading. So extraction and loading, these two concepts, for these two concepts we can use any kind of databases or any kind of files to extract the data. Maybe you might have the data in a different way, right? You might, client has sending the data through text files. It's nothing but your flat files, sequential file. It's nothing but. Maybe sometimes client will send the data through database, any kind of database, Oracle tables or any kind of Teradata tables, whatever it may be. So your extraction and loading might be, it differentiate like, based upon the client requirements. Maybe client is using, for extraction, he is using some database, like, Oracle database. For loading, he may go for Teradata database. So in that case, extraction and loading, mostly you will be using either files or databases, right? So for coming to the transformation, for transformation in ETL there is a transformation, right? Middle part. So for transformations you have certain stages are available in DataStage. Those are processing stages. You can see mentioned in this processing stages. You can see that. Right? File stages. As discussed earlier, files and databases, you can use it for either extraction and loading purposes. You can use either files or databases. But coming to the transformation rules, like transformation means where you are trying to do some kind of business rule. You are applying some business rule in the transformation level. That means your data is required format. You need to change the data based upon the business rule, so that you are required to do some kind of transformations. For transformations, we have in our DataStage some kind of DataStage functions available, built-in DataStage functions. Apart from DataStage functions, we have various processing stages are available to transform the data into the required format. So that's where, so we can see that a list of processing stages in DataStage. So different. Suppose if any aggregated functions required in our business logic, so you have to use aggregator stage. There is an aggregator stage, right? At the same time, you need to join two tables or two files, right? Maybe your source might be a flat file. It's nothing but your sequential file or text file data. Otherwise, your source might be a database tables, any kind of database tables. So you need to join based upon some common key column. So you require to use join. That means you are trying to join the two tables and you are outputting the results based upon the joining condition, right? So where you can use the join stage. Similarly, we have lookup stage, merge stage. So lots of for each and every. So you need to require. So based upon the data which you have in the source level, in that case you need to transform the data based upon the requirement, so that you can use different stages are available under DataStage tool. Right? Coming to our DataStage architecture, I have some more slides I would like to show you. So coming to the data warehousing concepts, I will be taking this PPT. Anyhow, we are talking about DataStage tool currently. So we can talk about DataStage architecture concepts. So, but do you have any questions, Mukesh? I don't see anybody has joined.
Yeah, no sir, no questions. What are the ways to execute DataStage jobs?
Yeah, so that I'm trying to show you.
Yeah, okay, fine.
So I would like to show that architecture of DataStage. So this is the DataStage architecture. So above you can see that there are client. So basically DataStage is a GUI based client server technology tool, right? Yeah. So definitely you will be having client tools at the same time server tools. I mean components. We have to mention the terminology as a components, client components and server components. Yeah. In client components you can see here designer, director, administrator and repository manager. These are the four clients are available within the client. What are those? Client technology tool. Okay. Coming to the server components, you can see that server, repository. These are the tools are available.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, whatever the project you are going to create, that means you are going to work with the DataStage jobs, right?
Yeah.
So you require. So where you are going to do all these DataStage related stuffs, you have to do it in the project.
Okay.
DataStage project. Under DataStage projects, you are going to create the DataStage jobs. So where you are going to create the projects and all using administrator client component. Okay. You can see here there is a client component called administrator. So in the administrator client components, you are going to define the projects. Okay. That projects in turn you will get the access to log into that particular projects. So administrator will give the access to the particular users to log into the particular project. So once you get the access to the projects, you can log into that particular projects using DataStage designer tool. Okay. So the projects which you have created under administrator, right? Yeah. That will be accessible through designer. Accessible through designer. So access means you will be getting one user ID and password. Using that user ID and password, you can log into the particular designer tool and where you can see your projects which have been created by administrator.
Okay.
So which is your project belongs to your project, you can log into the particular project using designer. Where in designer you are going to create the data stage jobs. Data stage jobs will be created under designer client component under the projects.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That projects.
What command line we will use, sir? Generally?
So where you can see the data stage too, under VMware. So various client components you can see here.
Yeah.
Designer, director, and administrator.
Okay.
Right. So you must to have manager client component. You can see in the slide, right? Repository manager client component. But after 8 version, there is no manager client component because we are looking at 8.0.1 version of VMware. So you will not see that repository manager client component because you see the manager features you can see in the designer. Within the designer itself, after 8 version, 8.0.1. So here you can see that administrator, designer, and director. All the features of the manager client component, you can see, right? Manager client component features have been integrated into designer client component itself. You can see the designer client component.
Okay.
So basically now we can see majorly there are 3 client components: administrator, designer, and director. Apart from these 3 client components, you can see other client components like console for IBM information server and web console for IBM information server. Basically these are for admin level. So administrators will use this, these client components to share the data between the customers and within the administrator level. So that's why, so developers won't use this one, right? Only administrators, people like an administrator will use this client components. So majorly as we are a developer, we are mostly interacting with the designer, director, and administrator.
Okay.
So what is the user of administrator? Where you can create your projects, data stage projects, right? I'm just trying to show you how to create the projects and how we can access the particular projects using data stage designer.
Okay.
So now we are logged into the administrator client component.
Okay.
Right. This is about all the server. What is the version of the data stage and all the features, all the properties of the data stage to talk about. Coming to this project where you can create the projects. How you can create the project? Just click on add and something like Bigclasses. Right. Once you try to click on OK, automatically the project will be created. Automatically, it will create some default folders will be created under this Bigclass _ project.
Okay.
Right. The project will be saved under this particular path where we have installed the data stage. Right. Under this path, it will be created. Under projects, it is going to create. Now just click on OK. It will take some time to create the project. This project, right? Bigclass _ project, right? The project you can see in the data stage designer client.
Okay.
Right. That means, so you are just trying to create the project, right? That project administrator, who is going to create the project? Administrator will create the project.
Yeah.
Right. At the same time, he will give the access to the particular users to log into that particular project.
Okay.
Right? To log into the Bigclass _ project, we require some access from the administrator level. Suppose I am a developer, I cannot, without the login details, I cannot log into the Bigclass _ project. So, administrator will provide some user credentials, username and password. Using that username and password only, I can log into the particular project. So all will be set up by administrator. So administrator is a separate role. He is not a developer. So there are 2 roles will be available within the data stage tool. Okay. So data stage administrator and data stage developer. Developer means we can build all the data stage jobs. Where you are going to create all the data stage jobs under particular projects. Who is going to create the particular projects? Administrator. So administrator is a major role. where he is going to create the process, where he is going to provide the access to the particular users.
Okay.
Security, right? Everything he is going to provide. That after giving that access, developers, we are developers, we are going to log into the particular process.
So what are the
Now we are
types,
talking about the administrator role. Right.
hello?
We are, yeah, go ahead, Mukesh. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, sir. And how many types of data stage directories are there? Directors.
Only single director available. DataStage director.
Okay, okay. So
Right. You can see
according
the
to my,
design.
yeah, job view,
Yeah.
log view, status view, some components are there, right? I don't know more,
Right.
but
That components, yeah. So that basically that components to, if you want to see the data or the status of the particular job, you can use that options.
okay,
Right?
okay.
Log files. Right. So in administrator, what we are trying to do, we are creating the projects. Once we created the projects, we can get the access to the particular projects through DataStage designer client component, right? Once you logged into the DataStage designer client component, there you can create your DataStage jobs. Once you create your DataStage jobs under DataStage designer client components, you need to execute, right? After designing the DataStage jobs, right?
Yeah.
You need to design and you need to execute. So you can design the DataStage jobs and you can execute the DataStage jobs using DataStage designer client component itself. But where you want to see the status of the particular jobs, using DataStage director. The status of the DataStage jobs where you have designed, where you have executed, right? The status can be viewed through a director client component.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. So what will be the difference
How
between,
you can view the status? Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, what will be the difference between data stage, database data and data warehousing data?
Database data it's nothing but particularly you are providing the data or loading the data into the table structures.
Okay.
But the data warehouse data, right? So
Yeah.
maybe the structure may be integrated. Not only the database, it may include flat files, XML files. It is a combination of all the data, where you are just trying to store in the data into the particular file formats. Not only the file formats, it may be in the form of database.
Okay.
Right?
Both
Right?
can
Your project
be,
has been created.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, both can be modified or writable, right?
Yeah. If you get access to the particular, whatever the data warehousing, access, basically administrator will provide all the access. Administrator and DBS, these people will provide the access. So if you control all the accessibility, then you can able to edit whatever it is.
Okay.
Most of the times, it is going to be restrictable, so users only can able to access.
Yeah.
So other people should be, cannot log into that particular data, exact data.
Yeah.
Right. So now we have done with the administrator where we have created the projects. You can see the project under designer.
Yeah.
Right. Now you can see that I've just provided the username and password. So now you can see the project. How you have choose? You have to drop down the box. Right? This is your project, which has created by administrator. Bigclass_project. Right? Just select the project and click on OK. Right. This is the default template. What the types of jobs? There are 3 types of jobs available in our DataStage. Using DataStage, you can create 3 types of jobs.
Okay.
Server jobs, parallel jobs, and mainframe jobs.
Okay.
Here you can see that server and parallel jobs mainly, and apart from that sequence jobs and parameter set is nothing but where you can run right? The same jobs with different values. Different values, the same job can be run it. On runtime, you are going to use this parameter set on runtime. So parameter set is mainly for, you are parameterizing the job. Instead of calling each time, you can, all jobs you are making into one hub. You are making into one template, and where you are going to run with this parameter set.
Okay.
Right? Parameters and parameter set. There is a concept basically. Instead of running manually, you can use these parameter set values and you can run the batch of jobs at a time.
Okay. In macros also we can do like that, right?
Yeah, correct. Macros.
Yeah,
macros. Or micros you're talking about?
Yeah, macros.
Yes.
MACROS.
Correct. Yeah. Right. So basically, in our data stage, we are going to create the data stage jobs. What are the types of jobs we are going to create? Parallel jobs. So where you need to select the particular template, and you can go into that. So this is where you can your working area. You can create your data stage jobs under this window. Here you can see, right? This is empty box. You can see that, right? Where you can design your data stage jobs.
Okay.
Right? This is your repository where you can, if you created any data stage related stuffs over here, that is going to be saved under this repository. You can see here, there is a repository. Above the Bigclass _project naming convention, you can see that repository.
Yeah.
Repository is nothing but it's a central storage. Central storage. It is going to save all the data stage related stuffs over there in the repository. Whatever you have created under this window, right, that will be saved under this repository.
Okay.
See, right? And coming to this palette, right? You can see this palette box. So, what are the requirements? You are going to get the data from the sources, right? Might be your sources in the database format, that means tables format, otherwise file format, any file format. So all the stage is nothing but it's a process in data stage. So everything could be a stage in data stage, right? If you have the data in the Oracle database, you can extract the data using these different stages, like database stages.
Okay.
Suppose your data is there in the Netezza database.
Okay.
You can use this Netezza as a source.
Uh-huh.
Right? Otherwise, ODBC, DB2, anything databases. See, multiple database stages are available.
Okay.
In the data stages. Teradata, Sybase, SQL Server, all the database stages are available.
Okay.
Otherwise, if your data is in the file format, that is your sequential file format, you can use sequential file. Sequential file is nothing but your text format, .txt format, it will be in the
Okay.
Right? Suppose your data, your source data is in the form of COBOL copybooks. That is, from mainframe systems, you will be getting the data as a COBOL copybook files. Then you will be using complex flat file. Generally, in our bank, we are going to use complex flat file as a sources. We are going to use this complex flat file, CFF file. Okay?
Okay.
So all the file structures we can use. Most of the file structures we will be receiving the data. Okay. For extraction and loading, in ETL there is a extraction and loading. Just leave it transformation. For extraction and loading, you can use all these file component stages. At the same time, database stages. Anyone.
Okay.
Any database stages you can use it. But for transformations, which are you are going to use? Processing stages. See, these are the processing stages where you can transform your data into the required format. Using all these processing stages, you can convert the data into your required format. See, aggregator. If any total salaries you require, right? You can use aggregator stages. Right? So basically, data warehousing based on an SCD concept. There is an SCD concept has been implemented within the data warehousing, right? So there is a feature basically, SCD, slowly changing dimension concept. For SCD implementation, you can use change capture stage. That means between the two source files, you can compare the data. Where the changes being done, you can capture those records or data. Using this change capture stage, you can implement the SCD concepts. Right? Similarly, lots of stages. You can see the filter stage, funnel stage. You are funneling the data. That means many applications, from many sources you are getting the data. Many files you are getting the data, many tables data you are getting. You can combine or you can club all the data into a single format where you can use funnel stays, right? So join stays, you can join two tables, or you can look up two tables, or you can merge multiple tables. See, lots of flexibility with the DataStage. Right, sorting, how to sorting, either ascending or descending, and you want to capture duplicate records within the sort stays, you can use sort stays. Suppose if you have in the source data, there are multiple duplicate records, so you can use sort stays to identify those duplicate records. Suppose if you want to remove those duplicate records, you can use remove duplicate stays. Lots of flexibility with processing stages. Right. So these are the processing stages will be used especially for transformation of the data. Transforming purposes, we are going to use all these processing stages. For extraction and loading, you can use either files or database stages. Right. And coming to this above the toolbars where you can compilation. Once you create the data stage job, you can compile it. Once your compilation is done, you need to execute the data stage job, right? That means execution is nothing but you can run the job, data stage jobs.
Yeah.
Once you run this data stage job, where you can view the status under the director, you can open the director.
Okay.
Right? So under the data stage director, you can see the status of the particular job. Now we don't have any jobs in this particular project, so that it will be empty. Either you can log in through director like this, coming out, and even from designer also you can go to the director directly. Under tools you can see the run director. Directly you can log into the director. Right? So director has opened.
Means whatever we do.
So whatever you have designed the jobs, right?
Yeah.
You are going to execute using this run button, right? After execution, you can monitor or you can see the status of each job list.
Okay, in directors.
Right? In director. Through director, you can monitor or you can you can see the status of the job, either failed or success. You can see the status of each jobs over there. Right? Suppose I'm trying to build one sample job. Suppose I'm trying to load some data using sequential file. Sequential file is my source data where I'm going to give you some data for this sequential file. I'm just trying to create some data. It's a .txt format.
Okay.
Sequential file. Right, which has something like ename and department number. Ename is something like KKK and he belongs to department number 10, and Mukesh.
Yeah.
He belongs to 20, and I can see one more name.
Satish.
Satish, yeah. Satish belongs to department number something like he belongs to 30.
Yeah.
I'm going to save the file. It's a sample underscore data.txt. So where I created this data under some drive, some C drive, which is accessible to the project.
Okay.
Right? From the project, which are the drive is accessible under the drive I've just created. Now I can import that metadata. We can call it as a metadata because along with the column names we have provided some data, KKK. These are the data, but column names also we have provided like uname and department. So that's why we are going to call it as a metadata. So how you are going to import that metadata? See, one more thing, import and export. There is two options. These two options earlier with DataStage manager, as I explained about right, manager, because since there is no manager client component with DataStage 8.0.1 onwards. That's why all the features like import export options you can see in the within the designer itself. That's why within the DataStage designer itself we can see this import and export options. Right? So you need to import this metadata. Just come down to table definitions. Under table definitions you can see that sequential file, because the source is sequential file which we have just now created .txt format, right? It's a sequential file format. Just click on sequential file. Where to go? Under C drive. you need to go to the C drive. So last, I guess. Just a minute. Just saving into the folder. Right? I just created folder and I kept the file in the folder. Now I'm just trying to import the metadata. It is sequential file definitions. In which folder? Big class folder. You can see here, big class folder. Just select the big class folder, that's it.
Okay.
So what are the files available under text files? This is the file is available.
Yeah.
Sample underscore data file. So you can import into DataStage within the DataStage because somewhere the data is available in the drives, C drive or D drive somewhere. Now you are taking the data into a DataStage level.
Okay.
Right? We are connecting to that, right? So that's where we are importing. So it is going to be, once you are trying to import it, where it is going to be stored under DataStage, there is a table definitions folder. You can see that.
Yeah.
Where you can see that? You can see here, table definitions folder in repository. See, I'm just, my cursor is moving down, right? With my mouse. Under this table definitions, it is going to be stored under, it is going to create one more folder called sequential because we connected which one?
Sequential.
Through table definition, sequential file definitions. So that's why it is going to create sequential folder. Under this file will be stored. Okay? And also big class folder also going to be created. Under this big class folder, the file will be stored. Now let's try to import it. Once you try to import it, you need to check that because the data which we have seen, right? So which we have created, that is with delimitation with comma. So that's why, and along with the first lines are column names, e-name and department we have provided, right?
Yeah.
So you have to check it, right? You have to check it, and the delimiter with comma, KKK, comma 10, right? Like that we have provided. That's why default is comma. And also you need to check the data types. It is taking varchar maximum length is 255. You can restrict to up to 10. And our department number also integer, right? Maximum 2 digits only we have provided, 10, 20 like that we have provided. So that you can decrease maximum up to 5.
Okay.
Now you can click on OK. So automatically the data will be imported to our DataStage repository under table definitions folder. You can check down. It is going to be refreshed. See, sequential file folder has been created.
Yeah, big class.
Under this big class, you can see here. Now you can directly take this data into the, you can rename it. Just try to open the sequential file where it is. Once you try to open the sequential file, it will ask you to please select the file name where it has, right? Just select it from where earlier it was there under C drive, right?
Yeah.
Under big class, you have this data. So you can select it. See, the data has been selected.
Okay.
Right? Once you're done with this, next option is first line is column names. Yes, we have created the metadata along with the column names. So that's why you need to make it as a true. Because if you are not providing false, it will read as column names also. It is going to read as a one more record. E-name and department, right? Right? It is also going to be considered as a record. KKK10.
Yeah.
These are the 3 records we provided, I guess, right? KKK, Satish and Mukesh records.
Yeah.
Apart from these 3 records, e-name department also going to be considered as a record if you are not providing as a true in this one.
Okay.
Right? Right, that's where we have done it. And coming to the columns, so you can directly load these columns. From where? From here. Just click on loads. It will show you table definition folder where you can see the table definitions folder under the repository. From repository you are selecting this sample file structure data. Select it and 2 columns data. Right? Your data is ready. Now try to view the data. If you are able to view the data successfully means you have extracted properly.
Okay.
Right, Mukesh?
Yeah. So what will be the minimum configuration of the system to run the DataStage?
DataStage minimum means like, for training we required at least 10 GB. 10 GB of space is required because software itself it is going to be a 3.5 GB. So
What will be the processor?
minimum is processor you require, dual processor, whatever it is.
Pentium 4 is
It is
okay. I'm asking
yeah, Pentium 4.
generally, for not for training, general purpose.
Okay.
For the student, some student they won't be
Requirements.
high configuration, right? They won't be using high configuration systems. So
yeah, so minimal I can say, yeah. So they can use any kind of P4, whatever, P3 also it is going to be enough, no issues. But it requires like 3 processor, like because the parallelism also requires different processors. So multiple, like quad core and dual core, right? If you have to be good, your DataStage server will run fast, quickly. You are going to use quad core, that is means 4 processors, right?
Yeah, 4
very quick. Because 4 process, under 4 process you are running the data, multiple processors are available, right? So your performance will be
what
very
about
good
the
with
RAM?
the DataStage. You keep RAM, mostly you can use like
1 GB, 2 GB is enough.
maximum I can say that it requires, that's what I'm saying, at least 8 GB RAM is very high, so at least 4 GB is minimum.
Yeah, okay, sir.
So I'm using 8 GB, I don't have any issues so far. Yeah.
8 GB RAM you are using.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 8 GB.
Okay.
So your extraction is done.
Yeah.
Let's try to use one transformation or something. You can use filter stage to do this condition. There is a filter, right? So you can filter. Filter will take input, should be one single input and multiple outputs, where you can use the filter stage, right? So I want to split the records into a multiple outputs. That means all this file is having 3 records, right? Source file.
Yeah.
You can, using filter, you can split the data. That's where single input and multiple outputs, right?
Yeah.
So Mukesh record one more output. I'm like Satish record. I want to be into the another output, and Kiran's record. I mean triple K record. I want to make it into another output, so that you can use different outputs to the stage. So you can use either sequential files, otherwise tables also. So that's what I'm trying to say, that for source and target you can use. This is going to be your source. Extraction can be done within the source stages, right? And loading or your target.
Yeah.
Loading is loading to where? Target, either files or databases, right? Your database or target either could be, I mean loading part would be anything. Either target, you can use either text files, otherwise database.
Okay.
So to store all the separately, I mean to all the records, you can use filter stage, where you are trying to split the data. So there is a filter conditions you need to provide. So there is a where class, right?
Yeah.
Where class means on which condition you are splitting the data. That's where you need to provide it. So if you are going to use multiple outputs means like 3 outputs you are providing, right, from filter stage. These are the outputs. 3 outputs means 3 where classes you need to provide.
Okay.
Right? How you are going to provide? Like this, 3 where classes you need to provide. In the first where class, you are splitting the data based upon the department number equals to 10. Right? Say department number equals to 20, and it should be department number equals to 30. So these are the conditions you are providing for filter stage, and at the same time input you can see only 2 columns. And in output you will be seeing 3 outputs, right? In output there are 3 output links, right?
Yes, sir.
Hello? There are 3 output links. DS link 5, DS link 9, DS link 7. So you can see here DS link 5, 7, 9. You need to map it, each and every output from input. So that's where all the columns will be mapped to the particular output. And for second output, same columns should be populated. And for third output, you need to populate all the columns data.
Okay.
So you can come out and you need to provide. You can see here under columns, you can see the columns because we mapped just now, we mapped, right, so that you can see the columns. But you need to provide the file name where this file should be created or loaded. And somewhere like big class, under big class itself you can load this. What is this file will contain? Key number 10, right?
Okay.
It's a target. You can mention like this also. Naming convention. Right? So everything is fine. And for the second file, you have to follow the same naming convention if you want.
Okay.
Department number 20 underscore tar dot txt. And for this one also you can give it as a department number 30 underscore tar dot txt. Just check it, everything is fine. Department number underscore 10 underscore tar. Now your job is done. Because you have provided where classes, 3 where classes, based upon that the data should be split to the different outputs. But 10 should be into one output and 20 should be into another output and 30 should be into the another output.
Okay.
You can rename it all the jobs. This is for 10. So naming convention is also very important in real time I'm talking about. Right? Now we can run this job. So your job design has been done. Now once you have job design the job, like you need to compile the job. Compilation is nothing but you are validating the job, right? So now this in directory you can see that big class project is empty. There is no more, there is no jobs as so far. So once we compile the DataStage job, this job is going to be, you can view in under director. So once we have designed, you need to compile. Once you trying to compile, it will ask you to save the job because its name is untitled one, right? You need to save the job. Yes. See, the current job must be saved before it can be compiled. Do you want to save it and continue with the compilation? Yes. Sample job. Right? So where you are going to save, and these are the repository. It's nothing but same folder structures. You can see that. Yeah. You have to save it under jobs folder. It is empty as of now. Yeah. You can save under this jobs folder. Now it is compiling successfully. It will show you successfully compiled. Yeah, job successfully compiled with no errors. You can close it. You can see here now, job has been created. Right? The status, the same status you can see under jobs folder. See, as of now, status is compiled. Now I'm going to run the job. Right? I'm going to run the job. I'm just running. You can see the status here. It's running. If any failures, it is going to be shown as a failures. Now it has finished. finished with some warnings. See log. Job successfully finished, but it has some warnings, right? Coming to designer, you can see the status.
Yeah.
Every file, see 3 records earlier, right? 3 records. Mukesh, Satish, and my, triple K record. 3 records were flowed, and each one record has different, links.
Yeah.
If you want to see this first department number data, just right click on the particular file, just view D10 data. You can see D10, department number 10 record.
Yeah, it's
Triple case and department number 10. Right. Similarly, all the files will have respective data.
okay, Kiran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is all about so the status of this job, right? We have executed this job under designer, right?
Yeah.
Now you can see this status under this director. If you want to see, right, detailed status about the job, you have to right click on this one. Otherwise, you can shortcut. You can use this option. Log. There is a log, right?
Yeah.
Right. You just click on. See each step by step when it has started and when it has ended.
Okay.
When it has started and when it has ended. All the each and every step. You can see that through the job log file. You want to double click? So everything, the event along with the event message it is showing.
Okay, fine.
Right? This is all about you are asking.
Yeah.
So monitoring can be done through DataStage director. Each job status monitor can be done through DataStage director.
Okay, fine.
I think you pretty understood where the administrator will come into the picture, where designer will come into the picture, where director will come into the picture.
Yes, sir.
So designer and director. So where developers are going to involve, but administrator, only DataStage administrator will take care of that part.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, fine, sir.
This is all from my end, Mukesh and Satish.
Yeah.
So do you have any questions?
No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah. This is my entire course content, and I'll proceed with the DataStage data warehousing concepts, especially if people are not aware of the data warehousing concepts. Then I'll start up with the DataStage tool. So where we are going to talk about more into the DataStage architecture. At the same time, the various. So I'll be going to teach all the concepts.